So now we're
Yep.
back. So let's start part two. So we ended the live and then went back again. Went back again here to being able to save both part of it and not to risk it to lose part of it. I'm not sure that maybe it's go more than 1 hour, but let's see. We're still actually a bit more than 1 hour. So but I hope that actually it cut from the start, so my part is lost. But let's see what happens. So next time I should be like I will be like more cautious to stop it like at 1 hour. Okay, so let's continue regarding the marble that you use in your passport break on your card castle. Yeah, proceed.
Okay, so as I was saying, the use of marble was yes, it was strongly related to the fact of it being valuable. Living in Italy, almost you're pretty much surrounded by marble sculptures, which made history. And the use of marble and the fact that you had a marble sculpture in your home was a sign of a status symbol. It was a status symbol in Italy, as it is a status symbol in Iran.
I have a problem hearing you a bit.
Oh, okay. Let me try and leave and come back.
Yes. Yeah. Talk now.
Yeah, it's still
I think you need to set that to a low setting again.
okay. Okay, let me try it again.
Now the voice is good.
Oh, the voice is okay?
The voice is okay. I
Okay.
think it's only at the beginning. Actually, it needs a minute to
Yeah, I think
become
so.
normal.
As long as
Yeah.
the voice is okay, I can try and not move too much.
Okay. Fair enough. Go ahead.
So, like I was saying, the use of marble is strictly related to its value. Yes. Um, like I said beforehand, living in Italy, you're mostly surrounded by these marble sculptures, which also represent a status symbol. I think generally the use of marble in architecture and in art was always historically a status symbol of value, of wealth. But more than just being something valuable, it's also a material used primarily in sculpture, in classic sculpture. So it's also something that's used in the making of monuments. Now, I remember you said, why didn't you use gold? And I actually thought about that quite a bit. And the thing that led me away from using gold is that gold is less correlated with an artwork than it is with economy. Gold is something that's bought and sold, and the idea of having gold is just to be wealthy. So it's nothing to do with culture, with the creation of art. It's mostly that idea of richness. And I didn't really want to go there. I wanted to create a monument to this idea. And the material I saw most fit that would be delicate, that would have that characteristic, that quality of being delicate, was marble. And above all, I also used the ink that I used on the passports was an ink that had copper in it. So again, I put in these small little elements just to recall the idea of value. Again, a castle of cards. Castles big cards, small. So there's always this play in every part of the work with the idea of value. Something that's very valuable, put in contrast with something that really doesn't have too much of a value, or
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have that structure of value.
Mm-hmm. Uh, so before proceeding, can you maybe check your video setting if it's set on low quality, because it's still actually like staggering a bit.
Well, no, I actually checked it before. I didn't change it, so I think I
But
can
actually,
try.
last time we thought we checked, it's always jumped back to this original like high quality.
Okay. Let me try.
Or maybe your frame rate or
Uh,
something.
I'll leave and come back, and I'll just restart the application.
Okay. So he left right now, and he'll come back just after a couple of seconds, because it's connected through an application. He goes now, and then we run the application to come back. In time being, I can wave some of the audience. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's still.
Let's see.
Can you hear me?
I think it's better. Yes, we can hear you, but still it's, yeah,
Video.
the video is up. But let's proceed. It's okay. It's
Okay.
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 We cannot hear you, Sohail. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So can anyone else confirm that they can hear me? Because he can hear me. Okay, so let's proceed. I don't know. Okay, so let's go further. Regarding this, so I understood that actually you wanted to make a monument with the same style of these Roman monument that you see also sometimes written on it in the Latin. Something also made of brass and stuff like that. So that was your intention. So I get it now. And then another question that actually come to my mind is that, okay, seeing a house of cards, always it was some kind of a paradoxical understanding of it, to me at least. To me, it's always like this, that this is a very delicate struggle that you need to actually like put brick and let's say particles of part of it one by one very exactly until you hold the stability of that, or and in the same time it's something like very nonsense at the end. It's a pathetic actually struggle to make a structure which collapse with a tiny butterfly landing on it. So it's very unstable. So it's a, let's say it's a pathetic struggle to make a unstable stability for seconds. Okay, so it's more delicate and unstable, but temporarily stable. So what was the idea of like choosing this passport of a card castle? So did you want to like bold the idea of this national identity is very unstable and it's all building on water? So was that your intention? Or was that your intention that actually you wanted to say that actually this is a very struggle, very, let's say, delicate struggle to at least try to build something, although it seems impossible? So which one was your intention, basically?
So to explain the work, I think it's good to start with the main material, which is the passport. So for anyone who's traveled abroad, they know that your passport is basically the most valuable object that you have. Everyone has a special part of the house where they put their passport. They probably lock the drawer and they try to keep it as safe as possible. And that always intrigued me, the idea that you have this extremely valuable object that fundamentally is a value. It doesn't have any material value. It's not like a golden bracelet or an expensive watch or something that you don't want to lose, but it has so much symbolic value that you always try to safeguard it as much as possible. So I wanted to play with that idea. That it's a very valuable thing, and the reason that it's so valuable is not because it's rare or because it's irreplaceable, but it's because it is the representation, it is the legal representation of you as a person abroad. Whatever you do, you will need that. As long as you start moving, you're going to need that passport. And without it, it's almost like you are not a citizen. You are not a person that's legally able to do anything.
You don't exist without it.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea of building a castle of cards is exactly that. I wanted to. I actually cast my passport. So again, it is my real passport. The idea was, again, trying to do something very honest and trying to show that. The idea of having this castle of cards, something unstable, something that's quite, like you said, it's a paradox, because as much as it may seem solid, it is not solid. It's not. It isn't a true representation of a person, but it's almost like a leash. It's almost like this limit. I wanted to play with that idea of having this very valuable object that's valuable because of the materials used, but it's very invaluable because of the actual structure. Very invaluable because of what it is. It's just a bunch of fake passports. Repetition takes away importance. This is a very important concept in the work. Repetition takes away importance. You repeat this object until it is no longer valuable. Because if you think of the core structures of value, what is something that's valuable? Something that is rare, you can't find a lot of it. Something that is expensive, has a lot. It's difficult to make or it's difficult to produce, and something that has symbolic value. It may be a gift from a father, from a grandfather. It may be something that's passed on. It may be something that you have and that you hold dear. So I wanted to play with the pillars of value in the work and really ask a fundamental question: how valuable is it?
Hmm.
That's the goal basically in the piece.
So as I understood, so yeah, like the idea of using a card castle for your passport, it's actually more toward this very concept of this a passport being valuable per se. It's not something that actually of your struggle of national identity of building a structure within immigration. So it's
Well,
more something like personal than something
part of
social,
it
right?
that's integrated. It's kind of integrated into it because
Mm.
the struggle of building a card castle, again, it's a useless struggle. You try and you try and you build, but at the same time, what are you really building? It's a structure that's made of a series of fake passports. So if you were to write down the action, again, if you were to describe it, I am building a castle of fake passports. It is fundamentally useless.
Yes, of marble. Yes, yes. Very interesting. So let's proceed to the next one. This Italian title of that, it's very, very hard to me even to read it. So I brought that to Google Translate, and I found that it's written Administration Science Monument, something like this.
It's
Uh,
in Italian. It's Monumento alla scienza dell'amministrazione, which means a monument to the science of administration.
to the science of administration, okay?
Yeah,
So you said that administration is science and the monument to
well,
it.
it is the science. The administration. There is something called science of administration, and it's all the
Uh-huh.
technique used within bureaucracy. That's called
Ah,
science of administration.
okay.
So what this is
Okay.
basically a monument to the science of administration.
Yeah,
Uh,
which is a stamp, which is so for people for the memory refreshing. So which is a stamp where the stamps on it is actually fingerprints.
yes.
So
Can
as
I?
we
I
talked
think I
about,
just. Yeah.
yes, you go ahead. Yes,
I'm
yes,
just
yes.
gonna
Yeah.
explain the piece because it's a bit more personal, but it's also a little bit more complex. So
Yeah.
I think this is for anyone who's immigrated. This is a part of what you do every year. You go in, you have to hand in your fingerprints, and you have to hand in your documents to get your yearly permission to stay or your visa. Again, in that process, I thought about the fingerprint, the leaving of the fingerprint, and there is a play of power. So there's the person that's taking the fingerprints, and they're giving you the stamp that have the power, and then there's you that you're in a passive position. So you are
Mhm.
passive, and they are active. The whole idea of the stamp in which it's my fingerprint is that I wanted to invert the roles. So it's this one. This work is, I think, amongst all the other ones, the one that represents more of a rebellious or a how do I say it? It's more rebellious compared to the other ones because I inverted the positions, putting myself in an active position with this giant stamp. It's a very large stamp. So I rebuilt it and I put my fingerprint there. And it's almost a way of saying that I refuse to stay in the passive position. I refuse to only give this fingerprint in order to be a part of the bureaucracy.
Mhm.
If for anyone who's lived in Italy, there is a lot of bureaucracy. There is an abundance of bureaucracy in everything you want to do. There's always a form and a number and a stamp and an office. So it gets frustrating. It, this work was more of a protest. It was more of a protest than anything else. I think it was the idea that I wanted to make a monument to that to the idea of the science of administration, which is everything that goes into making the bureaucratic process. So the science of administration says you will file form 730 and you will do it within this date, and you need to pay these taxes in these offices, and you have to hand in the form, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to almost make a massive statement, put it there, and say, I refuse to do it. Because I am the active position. I refuse to be a passive part of this system. So that's more than anything else the idea. But again, it is related to identity. It is related to this concept. It's just rather than exploring, it's making a statement. It's making a protest.
So it means that, to the best of my understanding, it is like as if you erected your own bureaucracy inside that, just confronting their bureaucracy. So as they ask your fingerprint, so you don't say that, okay, I don't surrender my fingerprint, anything that you like. I do have my bureaucracy that confront your bureaucracy, that I actually have my own stamp, which is my fingerprint. Yeah.
Yeah, the fingerprint is exactly as big as an A4 paper. So it basically just one big fingerprint on an A4. You know, it's a protest. That's the best way that I can put it. It's a protest. It's saying I refuse to be passive. I refuse to sit by and be a bystander whilst I'm being processed. Because it's a matter of I don't want to be processed. I want to process.
So it means let's say is a dreamy wish that actually, while they're asking you to fill that process, fill that form, and then ask for your fingerprint, and then you think of it that actually as if you were in the position to also tell them, okay, now you fill my form, that actually I give you my fingerprint.
Well, yeah, it's a monument. It's a monument, and it does what all monuments do. It gets people riled up. You know, it's supposed to arouse emotion and arouse this idea that we will fight. You know, that's the whole idea behind the work. I want it to be monumental.
That's quite very interesting, because as we talk, we can actually like relate more to this, because like first it's something weird come to your mind that all of them actually comes in it, but not exactly the thing that we're talking about. But what also came to my mind as I saw it, because like I heard a lot regarding this Geneva Convention, that while a refugee or asylum seeker lands in one country in a Schengen and they give their fingerprint, so they should stay there, and they should stay there, like process the asylum seeking document and stuff like that. And I heard like, I know that this is actually something very dramatically happens, really, that they sometimes scrub their fingerprint to like wash their fingerprint away so they can actually move to the next country. And out of nothing, I don't know why, as I saw this, that was the first image that came to my mind. That actually, the first thing that came to my mind was actually like it would be best that if you could make that stamp before that you scrubbing that with the cement to wash away your own fingerprint, which is part of your identity. And that was something that actually not at all something that you wanted to say here. But that is the beauty of it.
This actually opens up a very interesting conversation, because if you think about it, the idea that you're willing to scrub away your fingerprints, and the idea that your fingerprints, which is it's much more personal than just an identity, because it's a part of your body. So to
it's even more than flag.
Exactly. I think it goes much further than a flag, because to say, give me a piece of your body, it's a big ask. It's a massive ask, but it's not an ask. They're not asking. It's a part of the system. So if
Yeah.
you want to be a part of the system, you must give me a sign of your body. You must. It's almost as if it's almost medieval in a sense, and this is the future. So you know, nowadays, as we move forward, we're talking about retina scans, and we're talking about fingerprints, and all our phones have our fingerprints. And I mean, I use it all the time. But at the same time, if you think about it, it's a part of your body, and in order to be a part of all these different parts of the system, you need to, in a way, give up that piece of your body. And these people that are willing to scrub away their fingers, it just shows you the length that people are willing to go to just to be able to move, just to be able to have certain freedoms. And you know, it goes without saying, but again, we need to put it in perspective that even though it's our fingers and we may not think about it, it's not like asking a heart or a liver, but it's still a part of your body.
Yes, true.
So
Yeah.
it's massive, and the idea behind the monument was exactly that. I refuse to give you my body. I refuse to be a passive part of a system in which I'm obliged to do things in order to have the minimum freedoms. I refuse to do it. So that's the whole point behind the work.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. So let's proceed to the next one. The one that actually people keep saying, "I am Italian" in Italian. So let's.
Annegare.
I won't. Yeah, I won't tell anything. Just go ahead and then just comment on that, so we can actually proceed more.
Sure. So, annegare is the title of the work, and it means drowning in Italian. The work was made in 2016. In 2016, for anyone who doesn't know, in Italy there was a massive problem that still persists, but there was a massive problems with migrants that were coming in and that were dying at sea. And it really struck me emotionally, just because you were hearing the news every day, and I wanted to, in a way, pay tribute to that, but at the same time, the work was it was talking about something else completely. I just wanted to add that to the work, to add tribute, to add respect to what was going on. And the piece is basically a series of people that have immigrated to Italy that I found, I interviewed, and I asked them to take a deep breath and repeat the sentence "sono italiano," which means "I am Italian," until they ran out of breath. The idea is to compare the natural function of breathing with the natural function of speaking your native language. So as you breathe normally, you don't think about it. For anyone who does meditation, for example, they know that you need to consciously breathe, and once you start thinking about breathing becomes difficult. So I wanted to take that and apply that also to the fact of speaking a native language. So what happened is they would repeat this sentence, and obviously it's a sentence that, being repeated several times, loses meaning completely. So there is this idea of repetition and the loss of meaning, the comparing of breathing, that's a natural act, to speaking a language, that's a natural act. And on top of that, in the background, this is again a little subtle note, I tried to drown myself in the sink, and I recorded the audio, and I put the audio in the back. Now the reason that I put the audio in the back, again, it wasn't something that was acted, it was something that was performed. I really did try to stay under until I really needed to gasp for air. And I put that audio there as a reality, as a way of paying tribute to what was going on in the country, but at the same time, the entire concept of being able to breathe. the fact that being able to breathe is not, it's a luxury. It's a luxury if you think of it in that sense. So again, a few funny things happened whilst I was doing the work. For anyone who's Iranian, they know that we have this game that we play as kids called Zoo. So you take a deep breath and you say Zoo, and then you cross a line, you touch the other people, and anyone who you touch and you come back while still saying the word is out. So I thought about that game. I think indirect. It wasn't really directly related, but I was thinking about that game as I was making the work. And one of the subjects who was Iranian, I actually asked him to say this, and he started, and he took a deep breath, and he said, "Sono italiano." So he went on with the sentence, and it was funny because I knew where it was coming from, but it was very interesting. So that's pretty much the explanation, the general explanation of the work.
What also there's also some understanding of the work that I don't know, at least came to my mind, that I want to also like share it with you, that this idea that people go drown themselves to find safety. Yeah, it has two aspects. One part is actually the place that you go, you leave, you consider it unsafe, and the second is actually the place that you want to go, you consider super safe. Okay, because you can go to a merely safe place, but you won't drown for it. Okay, so I don't think that actually like let's say, for example, like someone crossing the border going to Iran will drown him or herself to go to Iran, for example.
Yeah.
But you will drown yourself actually to go to Europe. And this idea of actually of drowning yourself to become part of Europe is also something that I see in us as immigrants living in Europe or West, and it's always like the challenge or the idea that we try to emphasize daily until we're out of breath that I am Italian or I am German or I am Western or something, until actually that you fake it a lot, that you run out of your breath yourself, and it also loses the meaning. But at the end, actually, it's vivid that you're not. That's actually something that came to my mind, that before, like, because I really didn't get this idea of like because what I usually do and always do, I first like see the work and then read the statement.
Yeah.
And because if I read this statement, then actually I just block my mind to like understand it. Yeah. So this 2016, something that this was something that actually afterwards I checked that. But to me, something really like the first thing that came to my mind, that actually bunch of people that are, although I don't speak Italian, but it was vivid that they have actually a foreign accent. It's not Italian accent. I could understand that actually some of them were Iranian. Persian, the mother tongue, and it was vivid that these people. I think you're gone. He'll come back.
Okay.
Now it's good. Yeah. So, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's okay. So was that also your intention?
So the main idea with the work was talking about language, speaking a second or third language
Mm,
compared to speaking your native language. There's a massive gap, and that gap is the ability to be natural, the
yeah.
ability to not think before you speak. And although we should always think before we speak, this is different because we're caught in the different mechanisms of grammar, vocabulary, and idioms in the use of language. You start thinking about the concept of language rather than what you're saying. Rather than content, you're thinking of the container.
Mm,
And that really stops people from being able to truly express themselves. So the reason that you rarely find poets that write poetry in a different language is because they're confined by the container. It's not because you don't have the content. It's not because you don't have the idea. It's just because you struggle to express yourself. You struggle to say what you want to say, to express what you want to express. And that was the idea. And it's almost like being out of breath. It's almost
mm.
like running, and at a point, you know that you've reached your limit. Your lungs are saturated, and you cannot breathe. You're out of breath. That's why I wanted to put the two actions together. It's almost as if it's a manifestation of what's happening in your head outside. You're saying this sentence continuously. You're trying to convince people that you're okay, that you're communicating what you want to communicate, but you struggle. You struggle, and the struggle is real. The idea
Mm.
was mainly that of manifesting the struggle through breathing.
I really like the thing that actually there is actually like a more let's say uh, reachable facade of the work that you say, and actually there's actually the concept of that goes deeper, and this multifacetedness of your work, I really like it, like that it is you can say that actually it's reached a position that you can call it art, that people with different background and with different way of thinking can uh, take their own take of the work without actually like violating that. And this is really something that I really want you um, to compliment you on that. And well done,
Thank
really.
you.
I'm really not someone to let like be in the position to praise someone, but I just want to yeah, I just want to
Thank you
like
very
express my understanding of your work. I really think that and I'm not a person that compliment a lot, really.
I really appreciate it.
I really
Thank you very much.
and I really like it, like this multifacetedness of that, and actually there is a different position of actually taking something, and this is really I want to tell that well done, really nice.
Thank you.
Um, let's get back to the talk that we're having. So regarding this awkward integrity. Um, so it's let me actually like tell the opinions for the like memory refreshing for the audience. It is actually you um, wearing a half armor uh, built out of something ceramic, something I don't know. At least
Cement.
from the
It's cement.
it's cement. Okay, so it's something heavy, something masonry, something cement. Let's
Mhm.
yeah, it's cement. So you wear that actually at the back, and then you walk with it around the basin in the circular movement, and then at the end you take it off. That's actually like a pure explanation that what's happened as a reporter, let's say.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I won't start for that actually to like diverge the understanding of people in the audience. So if you want to comment on that, anything that you want to start with it, then we can actually like keep proceeding talking about it.
Okay. Okay. So the title of the piece is Awkward Integrities. And the title is a little strange because not a lot of people understand what the idea of integrity is. I used integrity for a few reasons, mostly because of the architectural meaning. In architecture, when you say something, a structure has integrity, it means that it's solid, it's standing, it is a solid structure. But also integration, it means something that is within something else naturally. Something that is integral means that it's present. It's present without you having to do something. The idea was that this armor that I made, that was literally casts of the outside of my body, made in cement, was made in a way to double my weight. So at the time, I repeat, I weighed around 72, 73 kilograms. That was a long time ago, and I think I'll have to add a few weight.
Before COVID, yeah.
Yeah, definitely before COVID. It was, let's say, right now I double my weight, but without having to put on the armor.
So you always do the performance every day, daily.
Every day is a performance. So yeah. I doubled my weight. So overall, I weighed around 140, 150 kilograms. The performance was to walk in a circle until I couldn't bear the weight anymore, until I couldn't walk anymore because of exhaustion. Mm-hmm. There's several reasons to it. The idea of awkward integrities is the fact that this integral part of me, which is the identity that I hold, is a part of me, but it is also a responsibility. It's a weight. In a way, it limits you. It bears you down. And it's something that
burden or responsibility? Is it burden or is it responsibility?
I think a responsibility is a burden in a sense.
Okay.
So I don't think there is a true line. It's a very, very thin definition between a burden and a responsibility, because mm-hmm. it's both present. And on top of that, the idea was just to externalize this everyday life. The fact that I walk in a circle is this repetitive everyday routine. Night becomes day, day becomes night, years pass. So it's a circle. It's life. And you go through it with this weight that you carry. And this weight could be the fact that you're far from home, the fact that you may not feel at home if you go back, the fact that you're trying hard to integrate, the fact that you don't know if you'll integrate, the fact that every decision that you want to make is always limited by your origins. So, there's a lot of, there's a lot of emotion that comes into the work, because I think, well, for me personally, the performative work that I do, I want to introduce elements that I can't control, that push me physically or mentally into expressing something honest. Now, mm-hmm. in this, the honesty is physical. It's physical because you want to push, you want to walk, you want to continue, but at some point, your legs or your back is just going to give out. And the idea was just to reach that limit, to really mm-hmm. get to that final saturation. Now, another thing that's interesting is that we didn't say you carried around weight. We said you carried an armor. So again, this fact that it's an outer crust, it's protective. The idea of armor protects you, and it does protect you. But it's also something that hurts you, but it also protects you. It protects you because, like we said beforehand, culture is a basic human need. to have an origin is a basic human need. Otherwise, you're a cultural orphan. And you feel the weight of a cultural orphan. But at the same time, you're carrying it. You feel that. And personally, as I was doing the work, as I was doing the performance, I think in part because I had people watching me, in part because it's very heavy. It's another person on your back. And there was a lot of thought going through my head. There was a lot of there was a lot of emotions, and I also saw that as something therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important thing in the piece was the fact of doubling yourself, and then to demonstrate that, to double my weight, and to be able to show, to manifest that in physical fatigue. That was the most important part.
So why is it awkward? So why is it awkward? Like the first question, is it? Why do you think this is awkward?
Okay, so that's a really good question. Initially, I thought about because I do a lot of drawings. I've been doing this. This is another project that I'm working on that I haven't finished, but for the past 7-8 years, I've been making a visual diary in which I've just been making these drawings, and soon, if everything goes well, I will be displaying these 7 years of drawings. And throughout these drawings, I came across the idea of a figure cut in half, because that's very much a visual representation of being somewhere and not being somewhere. So initially, I thought about cutting a figure in half like this, but I decided to cut the figure from the side in order to cut the face out. Because if you cut the face out, you become anonymous. The idea was to be a half, but to be an anonymous half. That anonymous half can be anyone and anything. If you add a face to it, then it's half of someone. It's not just half of an identity, it's someone's other half. So it already has an owner. Whereas if you cut it from the other side, there is no owner. There's only an identity to claim. That, and also because of nature. You have the turtle that has an armor on its back. There's a snail that has an armor on its back, and I liked that idea of this element that's very much present in nature and also in art history. You think about Greek mythology of holding the world on your back. This idea of responsibility, or the Bible holding carrying the cross on your back, or there's just so many times it's been repeated, this walk with a weight, this walk where you have to hold the weight, hold the responsibility, and move forward. So there was a lot of elements that came in that worked together to make the piece.
So as also like the examples that you mentioned, so they were also, all of them were the idea that you like carrying something, either the cross, or in the Greek mythology that actually you have the whole universe as a burden on your back and stuff like that. And armor usually is on the front, and back is what you carry. Okay. And as a warrior is also something like that. Then if you have an armor, so you have it actually on the front. What kind of armor is that? Why is it at the back?
Yeah, no. So like I said, it was more than being an aggressive armor. It's a passive armor, because if you think about, again, in nature, like the turtle or the snail, it's always to protect itself. It's never to attack something else. Whereas,
but this is the place actually for turtle where the danger come. So do you scare that the danger come from back? So is it the notion that you want to say?
Well, I think generally, danger comes from the back, well, this isn't something that I consider, but if it comes from the back, you're always vulnerable. Whereas if it comes from the front, you're either in a fight or you're in a conflict. My idea wasn't that, I wasn't thinking of a conflict. I could have put armor in the front. Yeah, that's true. I didn't want to. I wanted to have this back. It was just this. It was a passive protection. Again, it's not about attacking. It's not about being the one to make the action. It's just a display of this responsibility. That's also this thing that protects you. That's also a weight. That's also bearing you down.
Yeah.
But that's the reason that and also the figures. It was also a piece that was connected to another piece that I had done, which were 99 figures cut in half, put on a wall, which we didn't display, but it was just, everything was correlated in that time with the drawings that I was making, with the other pieces that I was making. It was all in line together with this idea.
Okay. So another question is that you use this word in integrities actually, to say that, as far as I understood, that you have this armor, this heavy armor on your back to become integral, to become all as one. So why is it plural? Why it is integrities? Why it's not outward integrity, for example? Why is it plural?
Well, it was mostly because of the fact that there were many pieces. There were many pieces that made up this armor, and there was also many. The idea was also the many identities that were involved. There were the many sections. There was the fact that you come from a place, and the fact that you are in a place. The fact that, for example, one thing that I always think about when I talk about this work, I don't know if this is something that happens, but people's voice changes when they speak in a different language. I don't know if you've noticed that. And I've always thought about that, and the fact that this change of voice is almost like you're playing a part. It's almost like, okay, well, there's the Italian Andisheh, and then there's the Iranian Andisheh, and then there's the English Andisheh. Who are you going to play today? And you wake up in the morning and you say, okay, I have to wear my Italian clothes today because this is the role that I'm playing today. And tomorrow I'm going to do an interview in English, and then I have to wear my English clothes today. So the idea of integrities is the fact that there are many yous or many me's within a person. There's many sides to it. There's many aspects, and it's not it's not just the fact of being integral. It's also to be complete, but it's also the fact that it is integral. It's a part of you. You can't really do much about it.
Yeah, this is a very good question of Taryn. It's also a question of mine. So she said that
to do with being pointless.
So let me tell it for recording it. So she asked, does walking in a circle have anything to do with being pointless? Yeah. So does it?
Well, actually, more than being pointless, it was the flow of life. I thought of the circle as, you start walking in a circle and it's repetitive. You know, as long as you keep on going, you can go with a different pace. You can go fast at the beginning and then slow down towards the end. But you're walking in a circle up until you stop walking. So I saw the circle as I think the best geometrical shape to represent life, to represent the everyday, to represent the mundane. More than it being pointless, it was the idea of infinite. And the days and time is infinite. You continue on. The circle doesn't wait for anyone. There's no stopping points.
Very nice. You say that actually, like this back half of yours that you're carrying it's something actually related to your culture that you carrying it with you. So is it, and I also like saw another work of yours that you put like people in half, like you see their back as if they're living. So they go in basically in a wall. So you see them actually back. So basically, are these two some kind of related? So it means that if they are, so it means the back armor that you're carrying is your Iranian back, right? Is it your Iranian half that you're carrying it based on the same logic that you use in the another one? Is it your
Well,
Iranian back that you're holding?
I wouldn't really say that it's my Iranian back or not. The other piece, in the other piece, the idea is that they're between two places. So
Yeah,
they're put up against the wall, and you only see their back because they're between here and the other side of the wall.
yeah.
With the armor, I wouldn't really want to label it as my Iranian side, because then that's like saying I'm carrying this weight of having to be Iranian. That's not the case. I've never
Oh,
thought
okay.
about being Iranian as a limit per se. I'm proud of being Iranian, but at the same time, I realize that at this point, I'm not just Iranian, and
Hmm.
I can't truly say that I'm only Iranian. And the idea of the armor is exactly this concept. It's this doubt. It's also this side that you're carrying, that you're not completely there. You're not here, you're not there, but you're in between. And being in between, that is the weight. The weight is not having that specific home in a sense. And when I say home, I truly mean the notion of home that you accept. You know, there is a phenomenon in anthropology um, which is called reverse cultural shock, reverse cultural shock, which is very common. And you go back, and all of those notions that made that original place home are no
It's
longer
gone.
there for you. They're gone.
Yeah.
So you're culturally shocked at coming back home. And you know that's a very real concept. It's something that happens, and that
Hmm.
is part of the way. That is part of the work. It's that idea that you feel like a stranger in your own home, but at the same time you're a stranger in another place as well. So
Hmm.
that's the way. Where are you in between?
So does it really, because you also pointed to snail and also turtle, because they carrying their home. So
Yeah, yeah.
did you also want to point to that as you carrying your own home as your armor and your home? Was it like this?
Well, I
And if
didn't think
it's
of it at
like
the
this,
time, but that's a really good point. I'm going to use that.
okay. From now on it is.
From now on, that's part of the work. Yeah.
Okay, but if it is the case, okay, why do you feel relief at the end by taking them off? Okay, like physics aside, okay, like okay, I see that the biology and physics, so you got exhausted and you actually when you take them off, so you feel relief. So that's okay. But I mean, like from the artistic point of view, what is it behind it?
It's again, it's just a demonstration of the weight. It's just a demonstration. The If you don't see the release, you don't feel the weight. It's
Hmm.
like if you hold a stone in your hand for an hour and then you let go. When you let go, you realize how light everything is. So if you don't have the light, if you don't have the release, it's almost as if you don't feel the weight. So to be able to take the armor off and to walk out and people see how I walk out, that's an integral part of the work. If they don't see the struggle, even the struggle of taking off the armor, it almost takes away from the weight of having to carry it, because they're not
Hmm.
there to feel the weight of how much it weighs. They can see it, but again, to take it off, That's one of the most important parts. Putting it on, walking, and taking it off. Those are the three elements that make the work what it is.
Very nice. So we need to actually go for the final round because actually we are out of like the second 1 hour. So we go and then come back again.
Sure thing.
Just come back. But just check it, double check it that you set the video setting on low.
Well, right now it's stopped.
Okay, so
it just got fixed.
Okay, very nice. So
see you in a bit. Bye.
See you in a bit.